and welcome to The Report, Cal State Fullerton's premier source for news, views, and info. I'm Abby Fernandez.
And I'm Nicholas Garcia. We're very excited to start this new semester. How was your break, Abby?
It was good. It was good. I went back to Texas. I'm from Texas, so I was back there. I was helping my mom get a car, but she didn't get it. But she ended up just buying it like 3 days ago, so we're good there.
Okay, cool.
I spent some time there. What did you do?
I just relaxed, enjoyed my holiday, got ready for this semester. This is last semester for me. I'm graduating in May.
Semester.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm super excited.
Yeah?
I'm ready to be done. I love Cal State Fullerton, but I'm ready to move on to the next stage.
Gosh, look at you.
But a lot happened over the break politically.
Too much.
The inauguration, we're starting all these cabinet appointee confirmations, and that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about today. On today's episode, we'll be discussing President Trump's executive order of the travel ban, as well as Betsy DeVos, the controversial cabinet pick for Education Secretary.
We'll also be bringing you reports on the Repeal of Affordable Care Act, as well as Cal State Fullerton's alumni serving in elected positions. All of this and more on today's episode of The Report. So within his first 12 days in office, President Donald Trump signed 18 executive orders, amongst other proclamations and presidential memorandum. One of his recent orders has been the cause of much chaos and confusion. On Friday, January 27th, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that keeps refugees from entering the country for 120 days. Travelers from Iraq, Iran, Syria, Yemen, Sudan, Libya, and Somalia for 90 days, and Syrian refugees indefinitely. While some agreed that Trump's travel ban was a safety for the nation, many did not, because the ban targeted only Muslim-majority countries, calling the EO a Muslim ban. Protests broke out at multiple airports across the entire nation, arguing for Trump to take back his decision. Amid these protests, U.S. District Judge James Robart of Seattle temporarily blocked Trump's travel ban, but was quickly defeated after a ruling in Boston refused to extend a temporary stay on the president's ban. Fortunately for many, in addition to the ruling in Seattle, a judge in New York agreed to extend a restraining order till February 21st, and a federal judge in Los Angeles urged a restraining order against the travel ban. As of Tuesday, the 9th U.S. Supreme Circuit Court, of course, will go back and hear these arguments in the evening over whether President Trump's travel ban should remain on hold or go back into effect. This is all according, of course, to NPR. It's the specific restraining order, not the ban as a whole, that lawyers will make a decision about on Tuesday. Now, I ask you, should judges have more authority over the president? How do you think this will turn out? And what would be some of the repercussions if the ban were to go back into effect? What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much a question of do the judges have more power than the president. I think it's just respecting the Constitution and the checks and balances system that is in place as per our founding fathers. And I think that no matter what the judges rule on, the president has to respect that.
I think so too. I definitely agree with you in that. I do believe that if there was ever to happen, something happen like this where the judges would have similar power to the president, it would sort of bring in a question of what does the president do now? I mean, what is he responsible of? I mean, why is he here, basically, right? So we want to make sure, I think, that he stays at sort of that power. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, and it's understandable. But if you have something like that happen, people will start second-guessing, right? And then it won't happen the way.
Right. So the branches aren't necessarily equal, but, we just want to make sure that one doesn't get too much power. So I can see definitely what you're saying.
Well, what do you think? I mean, what do you think might go on if this actually happens?
I think that the protests are just going to continue. We've seen lots of protests across the nation. Here on campus, we've seen protests. People are really upset about this ban, and they think it's an infringement on people's religious freedom. And I think that the protests will just continue.
Yeah, I agree too. I think that not only will they continue, they will get worse. And I mean, we've been seeing just a lot of these violent acts. People started peacefully protesting, a couple of months ago, and it's just sort of gotten out of control. And I fear for that. I fear that, these people are so angry inside they should be, A lot of people are not in agreement with what's happening, but I feel that they're just taking it to a level that is actually hurting and not really helping.
No, yeah, absolutely. I think that there's so many different sides to the situation. We definitely want to hear from you, our viewers, on this issue. Go ahead and comment your opinions, and we definitely want to hear from you. We'll move on to our next topic. On Tuesday, February 5th, the Senate confirmed Betsy DeVos as President Trump's education secretary with a 51-50 vote. Vice President Pence had to cast an unprecedented tie-breaking vote after hearings that garnered a significant amount of criticism from both sides of the political spectrum. DeVos has never taught in, worked in, or sent her children to a public school, and many opponents believed it showed. She seemed not to understand elements of major federal education law. In a majority of her answers during the hearing, according to the Huffington Post, Betsy DeVos has personally donated $115,000 to the current crop of Republican senators since 1980. Those lawmakers received more than $950,000 from the full DeVos family over the same period. The family has further donated $8.3 million to Republican Party super PACs in the past two election cycles. But did DeVos essentially buy her way into the cabinet position? And now that she is confirmed, how much will actually change for the nation's 50 million public school students and 20 million college students?
Well, gosh, did she buy her way into it? She's a philanthropist, an activist. She has given certainly a lot of money into throughout the years, right? Calling it giving it regard to the money, I don't think so, but she definitely does have power, right? And I think that sort of influences people and their decisions is sort of what I think happened here. I do believe that because she doesn't have any prior sort of education background, right? She is not capable to do this, right? In quotes, capable, because, we see, the Secretary of Defense, General Mattis, who is a military retiree from the Marine Corps, and this guy knows what he's talking about. And the the military in general, they were all very excited, to see this happening because they feel like they have someone they can trust because he's gone through it, right? And when we see DeVos, we don't see that, we see it in what she says, we see it in how she acts. And there was one thing that she did mention when asked about college free tuition, and she said, well, there's really nothing free in life, right? So what does that have to say, right?
No, definitely. That was her response. And I feel like, as with the whole Trump administration and, the president himself, there's a huge conflict of interest here. I mean, she is, neglected to confirm that her family will not be continuing their role in, giving and benefiting from charter schools and for-profit colleges. And I think that that's just another conflict of interest that we see as yet another Trump administration cabinet member has been confirmed.
Yeah. I totally agree, guys. What do you guys think at home? You can definitely leave us some comments and some questions below. We'd love to hear you guys because, as Nick said earlier, it's just two of us here. So we want to know what you think at home. Let us know. But we also want to let you know about other stuff that's going on about the healthcare, right? So President Donald Trump plans to reform healthcare in the U.S. We know that. Though the proposal could take until next year, the Americans can expect tax cuts in 2017. In an interview with Trump, Fox News' Bill O'Reilly asked, quote, "Can Americans in 2017 expect a new health care plan rolled out by the Trump administration this year?" End quote. And Trump answered, quote, "Obamacare is a disaster. You have to remember Obamacare doesn't work, so we are putting in a wonderful plan." End quote. Now, Trump's plans to have something within this year and the following year as well. It's unclear what Trump meant when he said it will be happening sometimes next year. So we do know that he had promised to unveil a plan once his health secretary nominee, Tom Price, is confirmed, and that's happening later this month. Republicans in Congress state that it's not simple to reform the health care law. Trump acknowledges lawmakers are also slowing the timeline to repeal and replace major sections of the law. Even after Congress passes a replacement plan, Obamacare will likely remain in effect for a year or or two, as it will take time for the insurers and the agencies to shift to the new Republican plan. When asked if taxes will be slashed this year, Trump affirmatively answered, quote, "I think so, yes, and I think that before the end of the year, I would like to say yes," end quote.
Now in Cal State Fullerton news, multiple alumni from various decades have been elected and are serving their communities on school boards, in city government, and in the state and nation's capitals. Among those are some familiar names like Ed Royce and more recent graduates Jeremy Yamaguchi. Congratulations, Titans. It's always wonderful to see alumni changing lives in our community.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's show, unfortunately, guys. We do want to remind you to comment, do all that great stuff. We want to hear from you, definitely. And don't forget to tune in next time for more news, views, and info. I'm Abby Fernandez.
And I'm Nicholas Garcia. Stay fresh, Fullerton.